today, another event that's going on is during the summit. They have a number of bilateral meetings with Ethiopia, Senegal, Guinea, Ghana, and I think Nigeria and Somalia. I think I said all of them. They held a bilateral meeting, but our today's specific discussion will focus on the bilateral meeting with Ghana. So with regards to one of the other things that the summit is going to gain back from this summit by summoning our leaders is to get back the voting power, because Africa has 55 seats in the UN. So that's a major voting power, which I don't think our leaders realize that. So they need that for they have failed the bills that they prepared against Russia. Now they're trying still to get it. Speaking of that, it seems that one African country from West Africa possibly or seemingly inviting officially the US to confront Russia in West Africa from, to its territory, and possibly confronting Russia in West Africa. So if and this country particularly have been, if you have noticed, very vocal, alike I can say majority of the African states, by calling Russia as an invader against the Russia-Ukraine war, while most of the African countries have been silent or boldly saying no during the different bills that has been prepared against Russia. So that is Ghana. We will display, before we go to the question, I will kick the first question to Kwame, but I want us to listen / watch this 2 minutes video of the bilateral meeting. So, and then we get back to you. Kwame, can you please play it? You're muted. Did I mute you?
Please, I've already shared the video. Just let it in.
All right. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
To the meeting, and you were part of the meeting, and its significance for us. And I think that beyond everything, that is a matter of I want to change it. Today, Russian mercenaries are on our northern border. Burkina Faso has now entered into an arrangement to go along with Mali in employing the Wagner forces there. I believe a mine in southern Burkina has been allocated to them as a form of payment for their services. Prime Minister of Burkina Faso in the last 10 days has been in Moscow. And to have them operating on our northern border is particularly distressing for us in Ghana. Apart from not accepting the idea of great powers once again making Africa their theater of operation, we have a particular position that you know about over the Ukraine war, where we have been very, very vocal and upfront about condemning the invasion of Russia by Russia. And therefore, they're now to have this group in our borders is a matter of some considerable disquiet and concern for us. We really like to have a privileged opportunity to talk about its implications and what we believe ought to be the case. This is what took place with the discussion in the Congress yesterday, which I found very fruitful. And I would like that the themes of that discussion should be the themes that we should continue to address. To what extent we can have you as a partner in confronting these threats.
Just in case, here is Yeah, this is what it says. It's officially inviting so the continent and the US, to what extent, as you heard the last statement, to what extent will, are you going to be our partner to confront these threats? Now, my question to you, Kwame, is that, so we saw the president Akufo-Addo concern expressed to Foreign Secretary Blinken during this bilateral meeting. Is there a threat, really, as the president enthusiastically stated it? And if yes, how does this affect, Ghana has its own national defense force. The response is the legal responsibility for the protection of Ghana and its people. So how does, I think it's called the Ghana Armed Force, how does it affect it? Does this mean that the Ghana Armed Force is not, cannot protect the country? Or is this why we see that the president is asking the US, or inviting to its territory, to confront Russia?
Thank you very much, Mahlet, for that question. And thank you for, first of all, organizing this program at short notice, definitely. Like we have mentioned in the past, this is the only program right now that is, this is the only channel where you know, as an African and people of African descent, you'll get a chance to, to hear people that are, having discussions, intellectual discussions about these important aspects that affect our continent. Because in the past, our narrative, has been kept in the back. But today, we have an opportunity that the technology, or you can call it nature, has democratized the technology space and the information space. Now it is no more big corporations like CNN or BBC which control the narrative. You see that when you go to YouTube, you can find that people have more followers, individuals, just individuals who are putting out news out there, have more followers, 6 million, 10 million, even some people have 10 million. And so it's important that we support a channel like this in the work which it is doing. It is very, very important so that we can also be encouraged to fight for our continent, to fight and put out our own narratives as Africans, and to show even the world also that the black man can manage his own affairs, like what Nkrumah said, or he can defend himself. The black man can come out there and defend himself because there is a lot of people who are peddling for a false narrative, not only from the imperialist countries, but also even internally within our continent, within ourselves, within the African community. You find that we have certain leaders who are working against the interests of the African people for their own personal, selfish, interests. With that being said, let me just allow me, Mahlet, to give a little bit of background on this situation. We've had President Akufo-Addo. I hope the video played all the way to the end. Were you able to watch it, all of it, up to the end?
Yes.
Okay.
The one
okay.
that's shared on Twitter, which is usually 2 minutes.
Yes. So we had President Akufo-Addo mention the concerns of the concern of the Wagner Group, and according to him, he singled out Russia as the biggest, threat to his country, and especially in the northern part of Ghana, where he claimed that Burkina Faso has invited the Wagner Group. But it is important to put this situation in context, actually, to say that what is the threat really that President Akufo-Addo is talking about, and also to look at his history as an individual, as a president, as a leader when he came to the presidency in Ghana, when he, won the presidency, the seat of the presidency in the country. What was his outlook as a leader on the African continent, and how has he performed also, when it comes to the economy in Ghana? Are there a lot of other things which are at play in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the questions as a person you want to ask yourself. How consistent has President Akufo-Addo been in defending the interests of the African people, whether it is on the continent? And then also, what is the position of the African Union on this matter regarding Russia and how the United States is contesting? We have seen in our analysis in the past that it is clear, even this has been mentioned on all, even mainstream medias like Al Jazeera and all the others, that there is a contest by the United States. Even ourselves, we have made these analyses, many, numerous times. If you check Connect Africa, you check all the videos that we have published, we have made it very clear that the US is contesting with Russia and China on the African continent, and the purpose for that contest is the resources of the African continent. Now, that brings us to this brings us to what happened in Libya, which we pointed out in the past, that rebels, or the so-called terrorists and the jihadists, which are being mentioned and are being peddled, they came to Africa after the overthrow of the government in Libya, of the government of President Muammar Gaddafi, which used to protect the majority of the Sahel and seal off any instability that is likely to come from the Middle East, Iraq, and Syria. And these rebels, have been, these jihadists, the so-called ISIS, have been coming to the Sahel, and they are coming from the Middle East, and all these are areas which the United States has destabilized. The United States and its, colonial, partners, France, Britain, they have been going around bombing, countries. Now, countries like Mali, they saw that there's a lot of instability, even though the United Nations, Germany, France, Britain, all of them, they were in Mali claiming that they are protecting the people in Mali. And the civilians, the African people in Mali, protested against the president. They protested because of the insecurity and the poverty, even though we had the United States, France, Britain, Germany, all of them, they were in Mali. And there was so much insecurity. France alone killed more than 4,000 people in Mali, more than 4,000 civilians, claiming that they are fighting jihadists. And instead, what the people realized, these people are the ones who are the cause of the insecurity in the country. And the people protested against a president who was supported by France. And so we saw what happened there, that the military responded to the interest of the people. And that is what we have there today. And this scenario has gone on to continue all the way to Guinea, even Burkina Faso. But like I said, we need to put everything in context. We need to look at the situation comprehensively, not just to sing out and say a coup. A coup has happened, a coup is bad. Because some leaders on this African continent have used democracy, to misgovern the people. They have used the democracy to mismanage economies and then hide behind that, you see. And they claim that democracy is the only way for us to govern ourselves. And they hide behind this to steal from the African people, to misgovern the African people. And when the African people have no choice, have nothing, left for them to do, they have no choice and way out for them to fight against this. And these leaders have been conniving actually with these imperialist powers. And like what we are seeing, President Akufo-Addo, the behavior he's exhibiting. When the African people rise up to take back what belongs to them, Then they claim that people are causing coup, foreign forces are interfering. When we go to Burkina Faso in particular, which we are zeroing in, because this is the country at which Akufo-Addo has also zeroed in and started claiming that Russia is in this country. Russia offered its help through the so-called mercenary group, but before Russia offering what he is calling mercenaries, we have the United States military base in Ghana. The United States came to Ghana at the invitation of Akufo-Addo and the former president of Ghana, who's Mahama, who's called Mahama. So John Mahama. Now, Burkina Faso never came out to say that Akufo-Addo has brought mercenaries. So I do not understand how Akufo-Addo, turns around to look at Burkina Faso and what it is doing as a sovereign state and claim that these people are a threat. If Burkina Faso did not claim when he invited his American mercenaries, to claim that they are protecting Ghana, who have his, agreements with the American mercenaries, which he has in his country, the Burkina Faso did not complain. I wonder what and where Akufo-Addo gets the audacity to claim that the other mercenaries are dangerous to his country. So that raises a question there. But on the back of that also, we saw that we are seeing also that there is some hypocrisy hidden behind Akufo-Addo's claim. Absolute hypocrisy. He has been mismanaging the economy in the country, and a lot of people are regretting for having elected him as president, even those who belong to his party. And so he is using this as an excuse. Now, he has got a loan from the IMF, the same person who has been claiming at this very summit that the African people should stop begging. He's the one who's begging for loans, and he signed the loans. At the same time, he's begging these people that they should come and protect him, but he's talking about that we should not beg. So this is a person who has no side, even though at the beginning, when he was coming as president, he came as a leader who the African people were having a lot of hope in when he started talking about Africa beyond aid, Ghana beyond aid. We need to work hard. The African people had a lot of hope in him. As you saw that most of his videos, they used to go viral. And all of us had a lot of hope in him. But it turned out that this was not his agenda. He was rather using cheap talk. You see, he wanted to gain cheap popularity, even to a certain extent that he used to be a very popular president, the most popular president on the African continent. But what we are turning out to see, that this is almost a wolf in sheep's skin. It's someone who was putting on a sheep's skin when inside is a wolf, which is coming to destabilize or devour the interests and destroy the interests of the African people, and the African continent. Akufo-Addo, I think, did not start. This behavior did not actually start today. We are seeing that at the 77th, he started exhibiting this behavior actually a long time ago. At the 77th ordinary session of the African Union, not the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly, we saw that he came out blatantly, as he mentioned it even in this video, that he has a track record of supporting the Ukraine cause. But the African Union, actually the chairman of the African Union, who's the current president, Macky Sall, and even the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki, had actually mentioned that Africa wants to be neutral, in this situation, and we don't want to be pulled in the great, the power politics, of the great powers, the global powers. What they are fighting. We don't want Africa to be pulled in this. They made this very clear. Akufo-Addo came to give his speech to contradict the position of the African Union, to contradict the official position of the African Union. This was the official position of all of us as Africans. And the chairperson of the African Union had stated that we want to stay neutral. We want to deal with everyone. Akufo-Addo, and this is the same thing that even at this summit, that the chairperson of the African Union, has said, President Macky Sall, that we want to be neutral. A person like Akufo-Addo comes out in broad daylight and breaks, the position, tries to separate himself as if he doesn't belong to the African continent. And let me remind you, in 1961, Ghana. So I would not like actually to tie this President Akufo-Addo on the country Ghana as a nation and claim that it is Ghana which is doing this, because he has been doing a lot of mess up in the economy. He has been people are very tired of him, at home. He has destroyed the economy. He's just messing up everything, and people are really tired of him. Now, when you look at Ghana, Ghana is a great country. Ghanaians are great people who have contributed immensely, as you have known. You have known historically, the Ghanaian people are pioneers when it comes to Pan-Africanism. In 1961, President Kwame Nkrumah, together with Jawahar Nehru of India, Sukarno of Indonesia, and Abdul Gamal Nasser, these were people who were instrumental in forming the non-aligned movement of that period of the 1960s. What was the purpose of this? The purpose of this was to keep, so this was Ghana at that time in 1961. The purpose of this was to keep Africa out of the great power politics, the contest which was that time between the Soviet Union and the United States. Because we have had this before. We have had this before. So the purpose of that non-aligned movement was for us to say, we are going to deal with everyone. We are open to business with everyone. We will not take sides with anyone. And Ghana was a founding member of the non-aligned movement in 1961. And here is a person, who wants cheap politics because he wants to take cheap loans and then, save himself because of the mismanagement that he has done at home, and tarnish the good name of Ghana as a founding member, of Pan-Africanism, as a pioneer of Pan-Africanism, and taint the name of the Ghanaian people for his own selfish interests. So this is what we, for me, this is, in a nutshell, in summary, this is what we are seeing, the behavior of this individual, that he's trying to break even from the position, the official position of the African Union, the opposition, official position of all of us Africans, which we have agreed that we want to solve our own, issues. We are Africans, and we have said, like what we have seen, that the African Union led, the issue of Ethiopia, the destabilization which was happening in northern Ethiopia. And we say we want to have African solutions to African problems. Yeah. And when you see an individual like this go out there to beg the colonialists, who are the ones who brought these problems? Because when you are talking about the jihadists, and they came to the continent. Russia is not the problem. Burkina Faso is trying to stop the jihadists, from disturbing its country. And why? Because France has, United States, ally France has failed. It has failed, and people have been killed. The poverty is killing the people. They have failed, and people have been killed in Burkina Faso. So they are trying, the Burkinabe people are trying to find their own solutions. And here we have an individual who is behaving in what Dr. Claude Anderson called inappropriate behavior of African leaders, inappropriate behavior of Black people, that they leave the interests of their own people to take for care of their own personal interests. So it becomes very, very unfortunate. So I had to give you and our audience a background so that briefly we can understand, Akufo-Addo's behavior and where this is coming from. The Wagner Group is there to help, just like how the United States military was invited, in Accra, where it has a military base, at the Accra, at the Kotoka International Airport, which is the main international airport in Ghana, located in Accra. That is how it is the same situation. So the audacity which Akufo-Addo has, that is hypocritical. I don't know. I think he's learning it from these hypocrites that have been bombing his masters, the neo-colonialists, who have been bombing Iraq, but at the same time, they are talking about human rights when they are killing millions of people. So he has a military base, and Burkina is not complaining. Togo is not complaining. Cote d'Ivoire is not complaining. He has a military base of the American mercenaries, but he is complaining. Why does Burkina? So it shows you, that he has this neo-colonial mentality, and then I think he's a weak leader. He's a very weak leader from my position. Please, can you repeat that question which you asked? So I wanted to give an overview of this situation.
I think you have kind of touched everything, like what does this threat meaning, which he expressed really enthusiastically. It seems that the gun is at his head, and then what it means also to the Ghanaian armed force, which is responsible actually to protect the country and the people of Ghana. Is it really not responsible, or like it cannot protect Ghana, that he's asking officially the United States? Maybe that part regarding
So actually what it means here, even what we are seeing, is that you are destroying. This is disrespectful not only to the African Union. So because so this shows you that the leaders we have, they are the ones who have been destroying the African Union. You see, because we have been blaming the African Union. And you see, it is individuals like this who have been destroying the work of the African Union. The African Union has taken a position. It has already taken a position to protect the interests of the African people, and said we want to keep Africa and the African people out of this struggle. And we have started solving the problems. And now we have a new narrative. We are talking about African solutions to African problems. And here comes an individual with his own personal interests, and he's destroying the work of the African Union, which it is doing. And I think this is what people have to understand. Now, on top of that, he's destroying even the ECOWAS itself.
Yeah.
You see, ECOWAS as an organization, these are members of ECOWAS. Guinea, however much imperfect they are, Guinea, Conakry is a member of ECOWAS. Mali is a member of ECOWAS. Okay, Burkina Faso is an official member of ECOWAS. So they have to be respected in how they are conducting their business and their choices. Because when they were suffering, I was listening to, to the current, interim president of Burkina Faso. I was listening to him today, and he was talking, and he was saying that we have suffered. Our people are suffering of poverty. Our people are suffering with the insecurity, and no one cares. So let us ask, where was Akufo-Addo when these people are suffering with the insecurity? And they have come out to solve their own problem. Where was he when the people in Mali were suffering with insecurity and 4,000 people were being killed by the French, who were there claiming that they are keeping peace? And when people rise up to find their own solutions, and then we have someone in a hypocritical manner come to talk about democracy. You see, there is something which Martin Luther King Jr. said. The leader of the civil rights movement, he said that when you are talking about peace, peace doesn't only mean the presence of tranquility. Okay, you know that you can talk about peace, but still people have violence in their stomach. There's violence in people's pockets. There's no peace. That does not mean peace. So this means you are talking about negative peace. Because there is positive and there is negative peace. So there is only positive peace if people have eaten well. People can go to hospitals well. People can send their children to school. People are secure. That is the positive peace. But if you are talking about peace and you are telling us, you are reporting us to your Americans, you know, you have decided to be a puppet and you are reporting your brothers, you have not given them solutions. You have not struggled to give them solutions to their problems. And you are reporting them, you know, to these imperialists so that they can come and destroy them and bomb them. This behavior. So I don't know whether he wants Burkina Faso to be like Libya, and which will be worse actually. This would be a worse situation for Ghana even itself, because now you would have what you would have if these Americans went there to start bombing. You would have huge immigration of people, and he's not forward looking. Instead of working with Burkina Faso, working with his African brothers to solve the problems. These problems, we can solve them by ourselves as Africans. We have seen what has been done in Ethiopia. We have seen what the African Union and the East African Community is doing in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Even though the United States is inserting itself in, but we know it has not contributed to. It did not contribute to the solutions that came, from South Africa. It did not contribute. It was instead sabotaging. And it's the same situation that the East African Community is trying to solve the problem in the Congo. And the United States has been instrumental in keeping that problem in the Democratic Republic of Congo since the 1960s. Even though they are blaming Kagame, we have done this analysis also. They have been Britain, Belgium, Europe, and now if you should add South Korea and Japan, all these ones who are extracting resources. They have been instrumental in causing the chaos. There are over 200 rebel groups. These groups started in the 1960s, even before the formation and consolidation of Rwanda as a state. So the East African Community is there to try to solve that problem. And the United States is claiming, that it is contributing. It is not contributing. It is not the one who initiated this. So he's just claiming, he wants to claim credit that he's doing some job. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say that we have been saying that we as Africans, we want to solve our problems. And we have started seeing that when we take matters in our own hands, we are able to solve our problems. And we have seen the examples, like we said, in Ethiopia, the situation has been, calmed down. Peace has returned to the region. The African Union and East African Community have moved their, attention now to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and things are being handled. So I do not see why Akufo-Addo should go to the United States to try to weaken our resolve, to try to weaken, our narrative or African solutions to African problems, because we want to push these foreigners outside of our continent, and instead you are inviting them further and further so that they can continue to cause incursion in our continent. So this is, from what I see, this is what it means, is that he has interest in weakening our narrative as Africans, the narrative of African solutions to African problems, weakening the African Union, weakening the ECOWAS itself and destroying it. He has interest in that. And it doesn't also reflect very well on the institutions, in Ghana as a country, because that means you are saying that the Ghana armed forces cannot protect the country. So you want to bring 1,000 Americans. They are the ones, it doesn't really reflect very well. It's a disrespect, to the Ghana armed forces.
Yeah. Definitely.
This is the army, like we have seen in Ethiopia. The Ethiopia Defense Forces is the one responsible for protecting the country. And it took on that responsibility. Abe did not jump out and say, I want the Americans to come and remove the rebels for me. No. He worked with these African counterparts. And this is the attitude which we want to see on the continent. But at the same time, this is the person who is talking on big platforms and saying the African solutions. He's talking about we should stop borrowing, but he's the same person. Is the same person who's begging the most.
Yeah,
so
we're coming to that, Kwame. Yeah, so conclude it. It's fine. Conclude it.
Yes. I've concluded, Mahlet. That is what I wanted to say. So that is what I see. That I think this is what he. This is what it means. You know, this is the expression. What he did. This is the implication of what he did and what he said during this summit. That he's trying to weaken us as Africans.
Yeah.